Welcome to a live taping of the CC America podcast. I am your host, Tamaria Jordan, and today we have the wonderful pleasure of interviewing Mrs. Toi Kyles. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Like I told you, missed what was going on yesterday, but I'm doing all right.
Yes, you know what? Same here. It's been crazy to say the least, and
Mm,
shocking, and
mm.
just trying to stay positive and also recognizing what we're dealing with in this country. So it's a little disheartening, but then it's also on the flip side, the good things that happen in terms of the runoff election results and things like that that really
In
make me
Georgia, we did
smile.
it. We did it,
You
Georgia.
did.
Yes.
So it's one of those things where it is bittersweet. Yesterday was a lot, but I am grateful that we are all still here. Unfortunately, there are people who lost their lives, and hoping that their families, um, I don't even know what to say about that. I'm just hoping that we can, as a country, heal. But until we're willing to accept what we have going on here and acknowledge and call it for what it is, which I'm grateful that people did do that yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good to see some of the Republican parties that were going to object kind of switch their answers and recant, because they understood we cannot back someone who is, doing these type of things. I mean, it's toxic,
Right.
and it was good to see them say, you know what, we can't, enough is enough.
Exactly.
We can't back this type of bad behavior. And what did they say? It's been since 1800s that
Right.
something like that has happened at the Capitol, and it wasn't Americans, it was the British that, so this,
Exactly.
you have people's families who were in the Capitol building, people scared for their family members, and the mere fact that it was egged on,
Right.
so it's okay. We got 13 more days, and
Yes.
Biden is in office and Kamala's in office. So
Right.
excited.
I am too. It's really the fact that it changes history, but then it also shows people that you can do it. And
Our vote matters. Our vote
right,
counts.
it really
Yeah.
does.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times I think people we because you hear for so long, and some people may actually believe that their voice is insignificant, or maybe that they are insignificant because of things that they've heard people say about them. But if this election hasn't shown us anything, it's that we are all powerful, and that where our voice does matter, our vote does matter, and we matter.
Yeah,
So it was so
absolutely.
encouraging to see that. And even with the election yesterday, the results, like you said, Georgia, you all really turned out. So
Mm-hmm. We
to
stepped up.
see
We stepped up.
the impact,
Yeah.
and also realizing that hate will not prevail,
No,
not at all.
not at all.
In the words of someone, they tried it,
They
but
tried
it
it.
will not work.
It will not work, okay?
Yes, because there's
Not
so
when
many.
he's in charge. No, 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 no.
Right.
So. Mm-hmm.
And another hashtag, that part.
Yeah.
It's so true. People think that they can control things in life, and and I'm glad that we're talking about this because it's real life, it's events, it's things that impact how we proceed day by day. And I know for me last night, I didn't sleep well. I was up
Mm-hmm.
and I was just thinking, but on the flip side, I'm also grateful that we're not where we used to be as a culture in this country. We still have a long way to go, but it made me excited to be able to interview like you and talk about your shoe line and celebrate the great things that are happening, because that's the stuff that doesn't make the news. The people talking to their neighbors, usually that's the stuff we don't see, and different
Yeah.
races
Yeah.
and people
Yeah.
coming together and working together, and we don't get to see that on a regular basis. But think about our workplaces and the friendships that we've developed over the years, universities, colleges, schools, it's all diverse.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I mean, even from my family background, we're a diverse family, We have a rainbow of people in our family,
Right.
being Caribbean, Native American, and Black, or African American. It's just, you know, I wasn't brought up with seeing color, and especially
Right.
being a military brat. Like most of my life, I was living overseas. And when you're over there as a military child and family, being that we're in a foreign country, we have no choice but to come together and become family. And that's white, Black, Asian, whatever your race is. If you're American and you're over in a foreign country, you have no choice but to come together because we have to rely on each other. And that's
Exactly.
what that's what the military taught me. And I didn't see any color. My first best friend, she was white. And then I had the privy of being exposed to all cultures. A whole bunch of cultures. And then, honestly, I mean, I didn't really feel racism or know anything. Well, I knew about racism, but I didn't feel it until we came to United States and the division. And then I started seeing it within our own race.
Yes.
Being light skinned, being brown skin, I'm like, what?
Like, aren't we
You
the
know what I'm
same?
saying? What? And my mother is brown skin. And I for me to be attacked because I'm light skinned, oh, you think you're better. No, I don't think I'm better than anybody. I just want to be your friend. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
It's
it's
crazy.
just, yeah, it's crazy to live one way outside of the United States and then come to the United States and have to deal with, it's sad.
It
Sad.
is.
Yeah.
It is. And thank you for like that, just that discussion, because it's
Yeah.
something that it's real, it's happening, and a lot of times we may or may not get to share how we feel about what's going on or talk about it. And it's unfortunate, the situation. But I'm hoping that there will be much better days ahead for all of us.
Absolutely. 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 And that we all come together, no matter your color, no matter your religion, no matter, your beliefs, that we all come together and that
Right.
love overrules hate. I pray that every day that,
Yes.
love takes over and hate just kind of diminishes, because
Right.
it's we only get a window of life here on earth,
That's so true.
and why spend what we have a limited of time on hating each other
That's so
instead
real.
of instead of making it glorious and being successful and being loving and us loving on each other, so hopefully one day.
Yes. Hopefully, it's funny. I used to have this little I don't know, it was called Ask Xander. Have you ever heard of that game? It
No.
was like a little wizard and a ball, and you would put
Okay.
your hand over it, and then he would tell you like if something was going to happen. It was almost like an 8 ball, but
Yeah, I know. I know the 8 ball, but I never heard of that one. Yeah.
it was like a wizard in a 8 ball, essentially, almost. And you would
Okay.
rub your hand over it, and he would say, "Not in this lifetime," but my hope is that it will be in this
Be in this
lifetime.
lifetime, and I hope, I hope that things that transpired yesterday and us seeing each other. Okay, so okay, things are happening, and it's not
Right.
our color, it's not our faces,
Exactly.
it's homegrown, and everyone can just look and see. You know what? It's not a white thing, it's not a Black thing, it's not a Mexican, Spanish, whatever. It's not a Middle Eastern thing. It's a people thing.
Yes.
And us as a people need to get ourselves in check and together and just kind of stop this foolishness and evolve. And
Yeah.
like I said, bring more love and eliminate hate, period, you know?
Amen. That's
Yeah.
right, Toy. Amen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
I would like to introduce you formally to our guest. So Toy Kyles is the founder of Indigoz. And Indigoz was established in 2014. And Toy wanted to bring something fresh to the shoe industry, combining both style and maximum comfort. And you'll see over here to my right that I have my own pair of Indigos, my purple bottoms.
Thank you for supporting. I'm so appreciative. Oh my gosh.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. And they feel really good. And I like the platform heel. I was like, okay, these are perfect because it actually takes the edge off of the heel. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. Now I'm really tall, and my grandmother always says, why do you wear heels? But I love them. So I have my charm booties over here.
Yes, absolutely. There's nothing wrong. Tall girl, do you know how much I was like, Lord, why didn't you make me a little bit taller? You know what I'm saying? And it's funny how that works. When you're tall, you're like, oh, why can I have been a little bit shorter? And when you're
Right.
short, you're like, why can I have been a I would have, I love your height. I wish I
Oh,
could be
thank
your height.
you. It's
You're
so
welcome.
funny. I look like I'm about 6'5" when I put them on. I'm not that tall, but you know what I mean. Like I
Yeah.
just because I'm taller than a lot of people that I'm around, I look a lot
Uh-huh.
taller, but
Uh-huh.
I love them. I was like, oh my gosh, these are perfect for the runway.
Yes, that Amazon beauty, that model. Yes, honey. I
Thank
love
you, boo. And
it.
so Toy studied fashion merchandising at Marymount University. She did an internship under Carl Brown, part owner of For Us By Us, also known as FUBU. And I used to love some FUBU and worked in the retail industry as a visual merchandiser and manager. So, combined with her knowledge and experience, she brings you Indigo Shoes, a feel good company that sells stylish shoes and promotes healthy foot care. So, I am so excited to talk to you tonight, Toy, to learn about your vision, to learn about your brand, and to hear directly from you how you got to where you are now. So, to start us off, can you just tell us who is Toy Kyles?
Okay, Toy Kyles. She is someone who loves hard. I'm very ambitious. I love to learn. I love to travel. I love to be challenged and accomplish those challenges. Um, and I'm hardworking. I could be funny. I can be goofy. I'm very bubbly. Um, and I would just say overall, just love
I would agree. I remember when, so Toy and I actually met through her sister Makita at Makita's graduation. And we had actually only met one time, but I feel like I've known you forever from that one time. And then, of course, we saw each other again multiple times after that. But even after the first interaction, I remember just hitting it off and thinking, oh my gosh, she's so great. I just love
Thank
your
you.
personality.
So are
And
you. So are you.
thank you. It's so funny the like spirits and just that energy and that joy. And so I definitely am grateful. I feel like I gained two sisters.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I agree with all of your sentiments, fabulous.
Thank you.
So can you tell our guest what's the meaning behind your shoe line Indigos?
Okay, so how we came up with Indigos was we were going through different names and um with the shoe line, I knew I wanted to be different from what is going on out there. And where I'm designing shoes, designing shoes, and one of the aspects of making my shoe different from other brands and other shoe lines out there was I was like, you know what? Let's make a indigo purple bottom. So everyone who puts on my shoes, no matter who you are, man or woman, can feel like royalty in my shoes. And so
I like that.
and and so then so we came up with the purple bottom, and the only way you know that it has a purple bottom is that you purchase the shoe. And then yeah. And when you purchase the shoe, that's when you find out, hey, they have purple bottoms. So we're going through names, going through names, going through names. And I think someone said, because the bottom is indigo, why don't we call them indigo?
Oh,
And I was like, you know what? Why not?
I
Let's
like
call them
that.
indigos. And so indigos is because of the purple bottom that you see at the bottom of every shoe when you purchase them.
Very nice. How many people were on that team?
Right now we have 3 people. It's a
Oh,
very small
wow.
team. We're starting off with a very small team, and you know, uh, once the company continues to grow, then we'll add more people.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, small but mighty, that's for sure. Yes. So actually, what now that actually brings me to another question. When did you all start this journey?
Well, I started, of course, I went to school for fashion merchandising. And when I was in school, I was like, okay, I know I want to do something in fashion. I really don't want to be a designer. I want to do, more of the business aspect. So that's what led me to, major in fashion merchandising. And
Okay.
so then, after going to school, I did visual merchandising for Victoria's Secrets in the DMV area, and I actually opened up the not Victoria's Secrets. It was Forever 21. I did work for Victoria's Secrets, but in the
Nice.
DMV area, it was Forever 21, and I actually opened the first Forever 21 in Wheaton Mall, Maryland.
Oh,
Yes,
very nice. I'm familiar with
yes.
that mall.
Yeah. So when you pass that Forever 21, you could say, you know what, Toy helped build this store. And she was the visual merchandiser, the first visual merchandiser for that store.
Oh, very
And
nice.
then thank you. And then from there, I went, and this is where Victoria's Secret falls in. I went and worked at the flagship Victoria's Secrets in New York, in Manhattan at Herald Square. And that Victoria's Secrets
Wow.
is 3 stories high. It's high. And
Oh,
it's a
wow.
lot of volume, a lot of people. It's the flagship store. So when people come to New York, they definitely go to that Victoria's Secret. So I worked there as a visual merchandiser, and then came to Atlanta and started working for Nordstrom. And while I was working for Nordstrom's, I started as a dress lead. I was in the dress department, the women's dress department, and I started as a dress lead. And they had me doing visual merchandising for them as well. And then I just started looking at different clothing, and we were able to go down to the shoe department and pair shoes with the different
Oh,
outfits
nice.
that we got for our client. We call Nordstrom's, we don't call customers, we call them clients. So we would, yes. And so
Nice.
we would get different shoes to match the client's dresses. And I was just like, you know what? Maybe I want to start either my own clothing line or my own something. I knew I wanted to start my own line working at Nordstrom's. And then so from there, I got accepted into Nordstrom's management program called FNL, and I graduated from that and got my certificate. And then I was on the road to, being a manager. And I said, okay, this is what I'll do. I said, I'll work my way up in the ranks of Nordstrom's, manager, buyer, and then come out with my own line of something, still not knowing what I wanted to do. And that's how I'll do it. And that's the formula I had for myself to be successful in the fashion industry. Well, I know you heard the saying, tell God your plans and watch him laugh. Okay. So in 2016, I got into a major car accident on
Oh no.
285. Yeah, 285 out here in Atlanta. A guy, we were in stop dead traffic. The person in front of me stopped. I stopped. The guy in the back of us kept on going and
Oh
smashed my car.
wow.
Yeah, smashed my car into the next car. Luckily, the lady that he, smashed my car into was a nurse. So she jumped out of
Oh.
her car and went straight into action with me, got me out of the car, and that left me with a herniated disc and a bit disc. And they wanted to do back surgery. I said
Oh
no.
wow.
But I had to go through physical therapy. I had to go through shock therapy and everything. I developed sciatic nerve in my legs.
Oh wow.
And yeah, there was mornings where I woke up and I literally could not walk. And so with that happening and them telling me, you know what, Miss Cowles, you can't be on your feet more than 5 hours. I had to quit Nordstrom's because one of the things at Nordstrom's is you're on your feet all day.
Right.
And with me, with them setting me up to be in management, I definitely had to be on my feet. And so, you know, that made me just be like, really, really.
Right.
But what that time made me do was just kind of hone into, okay, boy, what do you really want to do? What do you really that and, God spoke to me and he said, start working on that line. Start working on that line.
Mm.
So I started doing a lot of case studying when I would go to different events and go out. I started seeing, people coming out of their shoes on the dance floor or leaving the event coming out of their shoes. And I'm like, these shoes are so beautiful. Like, or hearing people just complain about their shoes and how, they spent so much money on the shoes, but the shoes are so uncomfortable. And so I started looking at that. And then I looked into the clothing industry, and the clothing industry is so freaking saturated, so
Yes.
saturated. And so I was like, okay, I know I don't, because, I know I really, not to say anything wrong with anyone who's doing clothing design, who's in clothing design. I think your designs are beautiful. Keep on designing them clothes. But I wanted a challenge, and I would definitely want it to be different from everything else.
Makes sense.
So, you know, with that being said, I started brainstorming like shoes. Something in my head kept shoes, 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 shoes. So I went to Office Max and I got me a sketchbook. I got me some pencils and I, got a whole bunch of painting pens and, markers and stuff. And I just started sketching. Just
Oh
started sketching and
wow.
sketching. Yes, sketching. Because that's in college, with being a fashion major, that's you have to take a sketching class. They teach
Okay.
you, yeah, you have to. So you learn how to sketch clothing, shoes, whatever, as a designer. So I started sketching and Indigoz was born. Indigoz was born. And then
Wow.
on top of that, I said, okay, I have these shoes. What can make me stand out even more with these shoes and my shoe line? And I said, you know what? Let's make them comfortable. Let's make them comfortable. So
Yes.
not only was I designing shoes that I had style in mind, I also had comfort in mind too. And now, because of that, I can say that Indigo's is patent pending on their insoles. We are,
Nice.
yes, we yes.
Congratulations.
In the year of 2020, the pandemic, we filed for our patent, and the
Wow.
patent office told us we can now say that we are patent pending, and we're just waiting on that certificate. So
Nice.
not only are our shoes,
Congratulations.
yes, thank you. Not only are our shoes stylish, we are providing you guys with the maximum comfort and promoting healthy foot care as well.
Wow. And you know what's amazing? And you said it best that we can tell God our plans and things like he laughs essentially. But I had no idea. I just remember the first time we met and you had mentioned to me that you were starting a line. And I remember being like, okay, let me know when they're ready, like ready to come out. And then life happens. And that happens to so many people, but you really don't know the testimony. You see the success. You see when they have made it. And any industry, essentially, that's what we see, but we don't know the blood, sweat, and tears that went through that process. We don't know what you went through when you were unable to get up and walk some of those days and how you must have felt, but you kept going.
Yes.
So that is amazing.
We started it, yeah, we started it in 2014, and just last year, 2020, was able
Wow.
to actually launch the store. So, it may seem like it's easy, it may seem like it's overnight, but life happened.
That is so
Thank
real.
God, God is good. We have the line, we have the store, and yeah, we have so much more coming for you.
That's awesome. So actually, it's interesting that you mentioned that. So it sounds like you've actually already answered this question, but you may want to expound on it. I wanted to ask you what role faith has played in your journey.
Oh wow. I was raised in the church. My grandfather on my mother's side was the deacon of the church. My grandmother is still the mother of the church.
Okay.
So yeah, I was raised in church. I sang in the choir. I did Sunday school. God has had his hand on me since I was born. And faith has definitely played a big part in me forming my business and who I am today and who I was going through life. Because without God and my faith in God, life can break you. Life can definitely send you down another road. And because, God had his hand on me, he every time I went to go left, he stirred me back right onto the right path. And I can definitely say my testimony is I'm not perfect, nor do I claim to be perfect. And I life happened with me, but what happened was I kept my faith in God, and I kept my faith in spirit, and I fought through all the trials and tribulations, and I still, God is still working on me and has his hand on me, because I'm sure there's more coming down the line. But faith it plays a big part in my life and in our business, in my business, Indigo's. And
Amen.
yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. So who inspires you the most and why? And that maybe not necessarily just who, but it can be who or what inspires you the most.
I want to say, people inspire me. I'm a big, outside of working in the retail industry, I also bartended for 5 years.
Okay.
And I'm, working in both those industries, you deal with people. And, people are inspiring, and people's different life stories and their accomplishments and what they've, you know, uh came through in life, and just milestones and history making, and just like I said, accomplishments. People inspire me.
I love that. It's
Yeah,
so true. Everyone has a story, and his story, her story, and we don't know. We see the shell, we see what's on the surface, we see the smile, but we don't know what's behind that smile or why people are so grateful and so gracious sometimes because of the things they've walked through. So you
yeah,
really can't judge a book by its cover. So I love that you said people, because I think even when we talked about at the beginning of this call, the situations that happened yesterday, if we are all we're humankind, we're all people. Point blank,
hmm,
that's it. We're people. And so often
yeah,
I think people forget that. They forget that everyone has a story.
yes,
And it's not about, okay, I want my story to trump your story. It's we all have a story. And I'm pretty sure that most of us have some common ground, whether we know it or
absolutely,
not. So
absolutely,
I love that you said just people in general and their stories.
yeah.
So how do you juggle everything that you're working on and see it through to the end or
As
through
I
the process? Because the
said,
process is always evolving, but how do you
yeah,
see your projects through?
I'm the type of person that will not sleep. When people are in their bed, cozy and stuff, I'm up, making sure if I have a project, if I have something that needs to get done, if this needs, I will do everything, lose sleep, not eat, all of that to make sure these things get done. And some people, people who work with me sometimes can say, "Oh, Toy's a perfectionist." It's not because it's not. It's just not that I'm perfect, but I have a vision, and it means so much to me to see my vision just kind of manifest and come to life. And
Yes.
so it's just like that makes you want to work even harder when you have a vision and you want it. So I don't like to say I'm a perfectionist. I like to say I have a vision, and I want my vision, to move. And so
I love it.
that's how I juggle everything. Is I'm willing to work hard, and I put my all into everything, anything that I do. So I make the time to make sure I get everything done. Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is hard, I think, for a lot of us. So hats
Mm-hmm.
off to you.
Thank you.
Because what you're working on and what you've been able to accomplish, it's a pretty huge deal. So I just say congratulations and definitely keep it going. And
Thank
speaking
you.
of keeping it going, what can we expect from Indigo's in 2021? I know you said there's a lot of things on the horizon, some things you may not
Mm-hmm.
be able to share, but anything that you want to share with people so they can understand more about the brand or what they can expect?
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely in April, we are launching our spring line. So that means more shoes, more styles for men and women. We are opening up the size chart for men as well.
Nice.
So we'll be carrying larger sizes for the men. And then after that, once we have our spring launch in April, we'll be preparing to showcase in New York Fashion Week in September. Yeah, September 12th, 2021. We will be a part of a major independent show in during New York Fashion Week called the Nocha Show. And so we also put in, keeping our fingers crossed, we put in to be showcased in Paris Fashion Week as well.
Nice.
So how it would go is, through the year, through this year, just continuing to market the company and, have our launches. We would showcase, like I said, in New York Fashion Week in September, and then turn around and showcase in Paris Fashion Week in October. And then the major big thing for us, major big event, hopefully Corona COVID would be would be,
Yes.
contained by then. In November, December of this year, have our big in-person launch here in Atlanta that you're gonna have to come to.
Oh,
You're gonna have to
yes.
come down to Atlanta, and because it's gonna be an invite only. And
Ooh,
we plan on having some major people there. So
nice.
yeah, so that would be 2021. And then, of course, as the years go, you keep on scaling your company.
That is so awesome. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm out here
um,
working. I'm working hard, y'all. I'm working
yes,
hard.
you and your team, kudos, because I know it's not easy,
Thank
but
you.
you are staying the course. You wrote the vision, made it plain, and now you are walking in faith, because faith
Yes.
and works have to go together. And a lot of times we forget that, that we can have the faith, but if we're not doing the work and taking the steps, we might end up with nothing. So
Nothing.
kudos to
And
you all.
yep, and it's funny that you say that because I do have a nonprofit called Stepping Out on Faith Foundation.
Oh,
And
very nice.
yeah, and with Stepping Out on Faith Foundation, what we do is last year we couldn't do it because of COVID, but every year we do a shoe drive. And what we do is we collect new to fairly worn shoes and toys. We do a shoe and toy drive during the
Okay.
Christmas season, and we donate everything to. It's called My Sister's House, which is a subdivision to Atlanta Mission out here in Atlanta. And what they do is they house women who have experienced and been through domestic violence and now are on the streets with their children, or they just need
Mm,
to find an escape. And they give them a safe haven and a roof over their heads for them to escape their, abuser and start rebuilding their lives. And
mm.
what we do is provide them with shoes to go on that interview, or just to, have shoes to make them feel good. And then, of course, the toys for Christmas for their kids.
Like you said, things don't always happen overnight, because for me, the vision for CC America came in August of 2010. And
Wow.
I started doing little things towards it, but I'll say I went from miscarriage to mission, because that situation reminded me that life is short and that
Yeah.
God gave me a vision and that I don't know how long I have. So it
Yeah.
does kind of catapult you when you go through life-changing events like what you went through, where you see, you know what, now it's time for me to really get to work. And like you said, you heard, now is the time for you to work on your line, because if you would have stayed where you were, it may have even taken longer than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So hats off for doing the work that you all are doing. But I do remember the purple bottoms in domestic violence, but I wasn't sure. um I didn't connect the two separate organizations, but I'm so glad that you were able to share that with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're also just building up on Stepping Out on Faith Foundation. We're also going to start offering a mentorship program and offering
Nice.
scholarships to fine arts and fashion students. So not only is Indigo's going to be, selling shoes, we also want to have a purpose behind everything.
Yes.
And I do believe when God blesses you, you're supposed to bless others. And that is
Amen.
my mission. It's very important for me to, two things. Very important for me to bring you stylish shoes, but the importance is the comfort of my shoes. So, yes, I want you to look good in them, but I also want you to feel good in them as well. So that is our main mission, is to bring you something stylish and give you the maximum comfort in your feet. Because the feet is the gateways to our soul and to our body. Secondly, to inspire and to bring mentorship to other inspiring designers and fine arts, and to make those students and people in that industry know we can be, no, you're not a doctor, you're not a lawyer, no, you're not a rapper or singer or model or whatever, but you can still make money and make profit in the fashion industry and fine arts industry.
Yes, it's so true. It's a
Yeah,
billion-dollar business for sure.
yeah,
Billions of dollars. It's crazy.
absolutely, absolutely.
So, what advice would you tell other goal getters about goal setting and finishing well?
Don't be so hard on yourself when it comes to your vision. Know that every little step you take towards your goal is a milestone and something great. And know, wake up every day wanting to accomplish something that's going towards your goal until you see it fully bloom and blossom. Nothing happens overnight. Life definitely happens. Don't once again be hard on yourself because of that, and always keep God first. And remember, you have that dream, and that dream should fuel you to wake up every day to get it and to get your goal going.
Amen. Yes. So, what are three words or phrases that come to mind for 2021 for you?
For me, um, partnership, growth, expanding.
Okay, I love that. Yes. And especially considering everything that happened in the last year, I think those things are, they send a very strong message, especially because with all the things that are happening, you've still been able to transform your business and still been able to push forward despite COVID.
Yeah,
So I think that's amazing. So
yeah.
I love
We
that.
did, yeah, we did every, that's, a lot of people like, oh, 2020, oh my God. For me, 2020 was a blessing. It set me down, because at the beginning of 2020, I was working for someone else.
Oh, wow.
I was making someone else money. And 2020 allotted me to step away from that and
Mm,
focus on Indigoz and get Indigoz going and start making money for me and my family and everyone else that I want to help. So 2020 we revamped, we filed again the business in a different name. We came up with more styles that we had before. We launched the store, and God opened up more doors for us in 2020. So yeah.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what else would you say, or are there any other thoughts that you have, or any other things that you would want to share with our listeners that maybe I didn't get a chance to ask or I didn't think to ask?
um I mean, I would just add on to the whole with the goal question, that we can be whatever we want to be in this life. Don't let the naysayers, the haters, the people telling you no, even family members that have their opinions about how your life should be and how it should go, and may not believe in what you're doing and the path that you're taking. Um, don't let them put you in a box. Live outside of that box. Do what's best for you. Do what makes you happy. Live healthy, live in spirit, trust God, and know no matter what you're going through, no matter what you face in life, tomorrow is another day to break free of whatever you feel is holding you down, and that God has you all the way and all the time, and you will accomplish everything that you set forth in your life.
Amen. You
Yes.
better preach. Yes. So, how can customers purchase your shoes?
Well, you can go to www.indigoz, which is Indigoz.store. And right now we are having a 25% off sale on all of our shoes. And we will eventually have a 50% off sale coming back. But right now we do have a 25% off sale on all of our shoes. And then if you want to follow me and follow the journey of Toy Cherie and Indigo Shoes, you can on Instagram find me. My handle is at Toy Cherie Shoe Designer. And then Indigo's handle is at Indigo Store, all one word, no dot. And then on Facebook, we're Indigo's LTD. And then on Facebook, I'm just simply Toy Cherie.
Awesome. And I will be sure to put those handles in the show description as well and post it on the blog. So,
Oh, I almost forgot. Also, our Stepping Out on Faith Foundation has a page on Instagram. It's the handles at Stepping Out on Faith Foundation.
okay, awesome. And I will make sure that I follow
Mhm.
your foundation as well. Yeah, I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited for all the work that you all are doing. It's great, and I know that the best is yet to come. I am so proud of you, Toy, and so thankful that you were able to join us here on the CC America podcast. I know that our listeners will be blessed by your testimony, and I always like to wrap our show up either with prayer or an affirmation. Are there any affirmations that you tend to like to say to just encourage yourself along the way, or
I mean, I only have one little phrase that I say every day, and believe in, and that is trusting God.
I love it. Yes.